Access Podcast,
where we talk faith-based, raw, and relatable life content. Join me on this journey and let's see where it goes because, girl, I don't know where it's going. Our topic is loving difficult people. That is our topic for today. And one of the Bible verse that I wanted to start off with, Luke 6:35 through 36. But love your enemies, do good to them, and lend them without expecting to get anything back. Then your reward will be great. Yeah, this is a hard one because you have to love your enemies, right?
No.
So that means anybody that talks bad about you, anybody that has harmed you. It can be that coworker that annoying you. God is telling us to love them. This is a radical love. Like, this is a crazy love, to love your enemies, to act good towards them, like to do good things to them. Which, if you're like me and you struggle sometimes, you're like, I don't want to do good things for this person because they did this. But when you understand the love of God, which is so hard, when you experiment the love of God, it's just a very merciful. We make mistakes consistently ourselves. We treat people sometimes bad. I can say a rude comment sometimes. Constantly, we're not perfect. We're not. I'm far from perfect.
Girl, we know.
We're all far from perfect. But God has a merciful nature, and I think He wants us to learn from Him to be merciful to those, even your enemies, because we do wrong as well. And sometimes you can be like, I don't do it. They're like this and this, but there's other certain things, little cositas that you do as well. This is just God expecting from us to be a bigger person. God wants you to be the bigger person. So yes, it sucks, but God calls us to a higher purpose. So loving your enemies, but add them to your prayer. When you pray, pray for them. They need prayer too. We never know what they're going through. The Bible chapter that I've been reading for Samuel is crazy because it ties with this topic of loving difficult people. Because it talks about David. David was a king as well as Saul was a king. Saul was the first king of Israel back in the days. And Saul had a very successful start. God was on his side. Saul didn't obey God, ended up getting taken away his kingdom, and they anointed a new king, David. And he was to be king after Saul, right? After Saul passed away. He could have been king right away, but girl, Saul didn't want to let that kingdom go. Saul did not like David at all. He became a little bit jealous and didn't want David at all because David started to be successful. One of the stories of the chapter that I'm on is he attempted to kill him. And guess what? David still respected him. Multiple times that he attempted to kill him, David still respected him and had love for him. But not only that, girl, it was crazy because David still loved his son. He didn't get filled of anger because Saul wanted to kill him and didn't want to give him the kingdom that belonged to him. He had a good relationship with his son, Jonathan. Like, it was a good love, like a brotherly love. It's crazy because how many times have we been wronged? And because you did me wrong, I will not talk to your family. I will cut everybody off because you did me wrong. And this is crazy because David still had a relationship with Saul's son. So he did him wrong after wrong after wrong after wrong after wrong. And he was so patient. He was so respectful. All these things belonged to him. He knew to be patient. He knew to wait on God's promises. And Saul died. Girl, he didn't celebrate and was like, yeah, I'm taking the kingdom, I'm taking the money, I'm taking the woman that belonged to me, I'm taking all of it. No, he was sad. Genuinely sad. Also because his best friend died too. But it states that he was sad because King Saul died. That is radical love. But if this guy, David, right, was in the path of becoming wealthy, but Saul was in his way, right? Didn't even do wrong to the person that was in his way of getting everything. Cuanto más nosotras. That just shows the love that David had. That's a crazy love, girl, because, you put the name of that person that is a difficult person to love, that you have to see them. Loving difficult people isn't easy. And we know that, right? It's not easy. But it's often where real growth happens. and strength of a character are formed here. So, just like King David, that was a process that he went through that was very difficult. And he chose to still respect and honor King Saul and it strengthened his character. So, think about it this way. You're growing. It can be spiritually, physically, in your brain. You're being formed because now when you go to another place and you encounter a difficult person, you're like, oh, I'm familiar with this type of person who acts this way. I know how to speak to them or I know how to handle them. But that just shows how much you have grown. So some of the tips is to shift your perspective. See why they might act the way they act. They might be hurt, insecure, right? We don't know why they have this behavior. It could be spiritual sometimes. Sometimes they've been through hard things themselves. Is to have compassion, which we already talked, right? That God has grace with us. Set healthy boundaries. Last year's seminar, a preacher that came and talked about, and he said, set boundaries. Doesn't mean you don't love the person. It's just you're setting boundaries for yourself. Loving someone doesn't mean tolerating disrespect or abuse. You can show kindness and care while still protecting yourself, your peace. Boundaries are an act of love for both you and them. You need to learn to love yourself, right? And one of the things that helped me love myself is my relationship with God. When I read the Bible, started reading the Bible and connecting myself with who God is really, it showed me my worth, how much he loves me, that nobody dusty son is going to come and disrespect me. Obviously, I can act graceful, merciful, but I will not tolerate disrespect, and setting boundaries is part of loving yourself. So detach yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing that you did. And sometimes we go crazy like, do I treat them that way? Or like, am I rude? And sometimes you don't even have to do anything. Sometimes it's just the person who has that in them that have to heal, that have all that bitterness, all that anger within them. And trust me, I was an angry, bitter person too. So I can understand a little bit of this because I was that angry child in my teenagers because of everything I went through. So everyone I saw had a problem with. I don't know why. Don't ask me. It was me against the whole world. And if you looked at me sideways, girl, I wanted to fight you because you were staring at me. It could have been because I was pretty and I was over here thinking everybody has something negative. But that was just the mindset I was in, the way I was being raised, all the toxicity around me as a teenager, family members unstable, all that creates people like that, and I was that bitter kid. So don't take it personal. Sometimes it's just a person and what they've been through and move on, like don't let that affect your life. Don't let that affect your day. Like just be like, oh, brush it off, give it to God, brush it off and give it to God and say, God, you handle that person. They need you. They really need you, So love is a choice. You make that choice to love. It's not an emotion that you feel, because if you love someone, you love them through the difficult times. You love them through the obstacles. And you continue. It's a choice of loving them, not only when it's good, not only when it's rainbow and sunshine. You choose to love that person, to love like how Jesus loved. So if Jesus loved all these people who were not in the mold of him being with them because they did all these things, he loved prostitute. He loved different types of people in life. And I say prostitute because as a woman, that's the first thing that came in my mind. Sorry. He loved them. He loved all these people, like I said, who were technically to society's eyes not worthy. He loved them. So when you think that person in your life who is giving you a difficult time, love them. Choose to love them like Jesus chose to love these people. Like we said, pray. That's one of the things that can help you. Prayer. And if you don't know how to pray, it's a simple thing of just talking to God. And if you don't even think God exists, I invite you to try him, try it. Be like, hey, do you exist? I can try him. He's not gonna not show himself to you, Put that difficult person, the name, who it is. I have one right now in this season of my life. And it makes me a little teary because obviously it hurts. But I have a difficult person in my life that I have to love, that I can't take away from my life because they're a family member and I have to love them. If I want to be Christ-centered, if I want to be a follower of Jesus, I have to love this person regardless of the way they act, the things they say. And yes, it can be hurtful things that they say sometimes, but I can also see it's because of their bitterness. It can be spiritual. And I say all these things because I'm going through it right now where I have to love a difficult person. And I have had difficult people in my past that I had to work with, and I had to overcome those emotions and those feelings and that negativity that it puts on me. And it's not for me to carry, but to give it to God so that He can do something with that person. My advice is continue your life. Don't let these difficult people get in the way of your life. God created this life to enjoy it, to have happy moments. So don't let them ruin your day. Give it to God. Say, I'm going to give it to God. I'm not going to think about it, whether if it was a text, whether if it was a comment at work that they made or a family member made to you. Give it to God. And how do you give it? In prayer. Just tell Him, God, take it. Here, this person said this, or this person made me feel this way, or this person continues acting this way towards me. Can you handle it, Lord? Can you do what you need to do in their life? I don't know what they're going through. I don't know what they've been through, but this is out of my hands. I can't fix this person. Let God handle it. Choose love. Choose loving them. And always include God with you. And pray for yourself, for that difficult person that is in your season right now. And of course, if you have any comments, you can comment what topics we can talk about in our next episode. Also, I'll invite some guests to come and talk about these certain topics. But I hope you have a good week. Enjoy it.
Subscribe to the Big Sis Podcast.